Lee, I'm delighted to see you. You're looking well. Welcome to Saturday night. How's everything going?
And it's going good, considering we're here on a Saturday night. How are we doing?
All things considered, could be a lot worse. Arms and legs still attached.
Right.
You're looking good, Lee. You really are. Recovery is going well.
I was able to shave. That's a big deal.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
And also,
whoa.
Yeah, right. But
so what happened? Did you get your stuff back or something?
No. A donation came in. And so, I really appreciate the donations. So I could spend like $20 on a razor, and so on, and clean up stuff. So, again, the donations are really important. So I'll just mention that. I do appreciate it.
Absolutely. It's very important. And I love to always remind people to sponsor the show. We're going to be doing a high dive episode right after this. And, people who are sponsors on patreon.com/Stranahan are going to be able to join us for that. It's simulcast on all of the Crowdsource the Truth sponsorship channels as well. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about today. Pam Bondi has been saying she's going to, release all this Epstein stuff, but so far hasn't been too impressive. We've got these influencers here. I don't know. You got a lot to say about this. Where do you want to go with this?
Well, this is all very deep, so I'm going to go very deep. So one thing, a lot of threads are coming together right now for me. One thread is this influencer thing and why the Epstein stuff is never going to come out. I'll explain that. It's never going to come out because she also said, Pam Bondi said, they're going to redact this stuff for national security. You heard that, right?
I did, yes. What do you think that means? A lot of people were wondering what could be national security about dead Ep.
Well, I think it's very obvious. The role of Epstein in the intelligence agencies, by which I mean CIA, FBI, the U.S. deep state, Israel, and MI6.
Yeah.
MI6 is important because, look.
But wait, let me stop you there because that's important what you just said, Lee. You've just laid it out in the most precise way. I have so many people who are out there just, the Jews, Israel did everything. But you've just said it. It's the deep state. These are fingers on the hand. Israel is among the fingers, but it's a globalist empire kind of thing, isn't it?
It is. And it's basically the top of the food chain is the British. Okay. So we'll talk about that because if you ask most people, name two agencies that are behind this, they would say maybe Mossad or whatever, Israel, and they'd say CIA, right?
Yeah.
And then they kind of go quiet.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They don't mention British, but I'm going to go deep and deep in a very probable way. So this is one thread. Another thing came up, Ian Carroll was on Joe Rogan a couple of days ago.
Yep.
Now, Ian Carroll's become like the new, the flavor of the month.
Exactly. Hot new thing. Right.
Now, why is that? He's saying he was on Alex Jones, he was on Joe Rogan, saying he's going to give you the facts on the Epstein.
Everything. Yeah.
Right. So, but once again, what's the facts he's revealing? The Jews, right? Now, Ian Carroll's the guy also blatantly says the Jews. You notice that?
Yes, I have. I've argued with him about it, actually.
And look, I was asking a question the other night. Now, I'll ask you the question. You watch a fair amount of people in your, doing this.
Yep.
And you talk to a number of people.
Sure.
How many people do you know who are anti-Zionist, one, and not anti-Semitic? I'm serious.
Limited number.
I know one, basically me.
Well, no, I was going to say like Rabbi Shapiro, who you introduced me to.
Yes.
I mean, I would consider myself that, because I think a lot of American Jews don't understand what Zionism is. And I'm excited for our conversation when we get to the sponsor exclusive, partly on Patreon and Subscribestar and Odyssey and all that, because I agree with you on this. I think that Zionism, and you introduced me to Rabbi Shapiro, who gets into this, how Zionism has attempted to hijack Judaism and the Jewish identity, and it's a political movement. It's a whole different thing than being Jewish. And people like Ian Carroll, what I really think the danger is with Ian is that he actually is quite intelligent and articulate and charismatic. He presents very well on camera, and he's young and he's fit and all that. So there's a lot of people who I think conflate these ideas and maybe even have an inherent hatred of Jewish people or Israel. And when Ian comes and speaks about it like this, it sort of empowers a lot of these feelings and intellectualizes some of this dangerous stuff, I think. I'm not saying he shouldn't be able to do it. I'm just pleased that we can have a conversation about it pushing back.
But I want to say what I think is behind. I'm not saying behind him as though giving him notes or anything. I'm saying the reason he has an audience. You'll find very few people who are not Zionists and not anti-Semitic. And the reason why is I can find people who are not Zionists and bold about it. Kenneth Owens, for instance, Nick Fuentes, right? And they all say a lot of very anti-Semitic stuff. They talk about it. Does that make sense?
Well, I mean, listen, we're getting into a broad area where there's going to be some people who think that anything that somebody says that's negative about Israel or a Jewish person is anti-Semitic, and then other people.
But I don't. Do you think it's true about me? I'm just asking.
You and I have been friends for like 30 years, and I'm Jewish, so obviously, but I think we agree that the political movement of Zionism throughout history has been deceptive and a social engineering thing intended to polarize two sides of an argument.
And look, where did it start? Where did Zionism come from?
You know much more about this than I do. I thought Theodore Herzl, but you said no.
Okay. See when Herzl was. Look it up quickly. Herzl is considered the father of modern Zionism. So see if we can find what year he was, operating.
So it says May 2nd, 1860. He died in 1904. Here, let's look at his Wikipedia.
Okay. So he's born in 1860. He probably didn't come out of his mom being a Zionist, right?
No, he took a little while, I think, to figure that out. Maybe 20 years.
Look up Lord Shaftesbury. Like Shaft, he's a bad mother, watch your mouth. Shaftesbury.
Is this like getting the shaft?
I could be spelling it right. Wrong.
Yeah, no. Anthony Ashley Cooper, Earl of Shaftesbury?
Right, Lord Shaftesbury. Just a quickly bio says.
It says there have been multiple people with the title Lord Shaftesbury, including Anthony Ashley Cooper, the 7th Earl of Shaftesbury.
That's right. He's the one we want. He's the father of Zionism. He is.
Oh, yeah?
In English, yes. You'll see that. If you look up his name.
Look, yeah, it says Zionist. He was an early supporter of the Zionist movement and the YMCA. Well, it's funny. I was just talking about learning how to swim at the YMCA as a kid. But why did he, that's weird. So that's the Christian Association and Zionism.
Right. And what years was he operating? It says he's following Zionism, which sounds like he comes after, right?
Well, right, but it's Wikipedia, so maybe it's not 100%.
Well, we just looked up, you said Herzl was born.
Yeah. No, this guy was born 1801, died 1885.
Right. So this guy was talking about Zionism in the 1830s. Now, simple math is 30 lower than 60, right?
Yes. So why does he want Zionism? What does he care about it?
He wants it for the reason evangelical Christians in the U.S. want today. They believe Christ will come back once the Jews are in Israel.
And isn't this red calf something to do with it? He's got a coat of arms here with the red calf on it.
I don't know about that.
They
But
had
I'm just
some
saying,
sacrifice of a red calf.
but I'm just saying, factually, he was talking about Zionism before Herzl. I mean, decades before Herzl. So saying that he's a follower of Zionism, it's backwards. Again, just
Yeah.
facts. Just facts.
Here, Lee, it says the red heifer is a figure in the Torah that is described in Numbers 19. It is a symbol in some Christian interpretations of the Bible. I don't really know what it means, but he had a red heifer there, and it's got something to do with this.
Very interesting. So what I'm saying is the guy who founded and popularized Zionism, by the way, guess where he went to college? You know I talk about this all the time. Any guesses? Bingo.
Yeah.
Now I talk about Oxford all the time because it says the center of so many things. It really is. I mean, you
weird
know,
things.
Right. And so this is the founder of Zionism. He's English and he was operating before Herzl. You see, so Herzl was influenced by this guy, not vice versa. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you ever hear people talk about him?
I've never heard of him before right now.
And also not a Jew, by the way.
He doesn't look Jewish.
No, evangelical Christian.
Right.
So Zionism was created by English Christians. Now, let me talk about another thing. Again, not an English history quiz, but if I said to you there's a history of the English fucking with the church to get their way, in other words, breaking, like, you know, changing the rules.
Protestantism and everything.
Well, how about Henry VIII?
What did he do? Just chop off wives' heads?
No, he wanted to get divorced. He liked scissors of ladies. So this is how the Anglican Church was formed. You know, so here's what I'm saying. Christianity had a rule that you couldn't lend money.
Right.
And now, if they're really Christians, should they be trying to figure out a workaround about that or just follow it? You see what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
You still like
no, but super religious people love these workarounds. Okay, well, you can't do this, but you can do heroin.
Right. So the workaround here was they wanted to raise money. Why? To fight wars.
Right.
That they're doing. They wanted to kill people and take their stuff, basically.
Right.
And so their workaround, they couldn't do usury to borrow money, but they said, well, the Jews can do it for us. You see what I'm saying? It's a workaround.
Money lending. And that's how it got into banking and everything like that. One quick thing, Lee, we've got a message here that Owl Killer is listening. Remember from the days of the radio show?
I love Owl Killer. How you doing, buddy?
But I don't see the screen name. Anyway.
But anyway, we love Owl Killer.
Yes.
So far, does it make you see where I'm going with this?
Yeah, this is good stuff.
It's all facts. It's nothing, not conjecture. It's not like I'm not anti-Semitic because I like Rabbi Shapiro or you.
Yeah.
The facts are, I'm not. First off, I think racism in general is stupid, and I'm not stupid. But you know, it's the crudest thinking possible. In other words, if you were to say no Jews are bad,
right, and that's equally stupid.
Right, and
there's good and bad people of all kinds. So, but we got to get to Epstein, Lee, before we switch over to the.
Okay, this is Epstein, believe it or not. This is where this all comes in. Because what I'm saying, the people covering up for this, Ian Carroll being on Rogan's show, a big platform, Ian Carroll being on Alex Jones, they never bring up any of this stuff because they just want to say the Jews.
Right.
No. And first off, what happens when Ian Carroll or Candace or someone talks about the Jews? A lot of people just tune it out immediately. People who are not anti-Semitic, they go, okay, this guy's a...
I think it puts off a lot of Jewish people for sure.
Yeah, and people who aren't racist.
Right. People think he is and just tune out. Right. Exactly.
Right,
Some people just, when you start talking about that stuff at all, don't want to be involved. Yeah.
right. But I'm talking about the Jews here, but I'm not shallow. You see what I'm
Yes.
saying? I'm
Yes.
saying there's something going on here, and the thing that's going on here. So the reason I brought up the the imperialism. Let me ask you this: England, the so royal family,
Still have it. Yeah.
right? So, and and you can look this up, but this is absolutely true. What percentage of the globe, the whole world, has England invaded at one point?
Maybe all of it. I don't know.
No, 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 that's racist against English. It's not all of it.
A
No,
lot of it.
it's 90%.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so and just
Wow.
off the top of your head, roughly, what percentage of the globe have the Jews conquered?
That small sliver, they've been trying to hold on to it.
Right, but the British clearly are imperialists, the biggest imperialists in the world. And when you talk about international finance, who do you hear about?
Jewish people, for sure.
Right. Do you ever hear about the English? But look, the city of London, the part of London that's
Right.
the banking section, is responsible for what? Most of the world's money laundering and HSBC. Now, see, another threat that is coming in is because I looked at people like Dan Bongino. Now, he wrote 2 books on Russiagate, right?
Yeah.
So, do you know who he never mentions one time in either book? I looked it up.
Browder.
No, he talks about Browder quite a bit. He takes
Oh,
Browder's side. He never
right.
mentions HSBC.
Oh,
Now, why should he?
because didn't it take over after BCCI and do a ton of money laundering and James Comey worked there?
Let's go there. If you're doing a book on Russiagate, right? Are you going to mention James Comey?
I would think so.
And what was his job immediately prior to being FBI director? His
I think
job,
HSBC, I think.
that's right. He was on the board of HSBC. That was his last job. So doing basic research. I'm not saying that's the only reason the BCCI stuff is important, but people might say, well, maybe you didn't know that. But you have not seen HSBC on Comey's resume. I mean, if you're doing basic research,
He is supposed to be a pretty sophisticated guy who knows about this kind of stuff and is, knows more about the news than the average person, I think.
and again, it's not like he worked there as a teenager. Comey worked there his
Yeah,
last job.
2013.
So you'd think the HSBC would come up once. Like if he might not get why it's important. Okay, I grant that, but he would at least say his last job before joining the FBI was HSBC. That's
Yeah.
it. Just he doesn't mention it one time. The word HS, the letters HS. I mean, I'm sure they letters in the book, but the term
It would be
HSBC.
funny if he wrote the whole book and did not use the letter
Yeah.
H, S,
Yeah.
B, or C. It's like, what's the problem?
That sounds slightly conspiratorial, but so I was wondering why he left that out. And see, now I think he's covering for HSBC. HSBC is right at the heart of international money laundering.
Yeah.
I mean, right at the heart of it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Hong Kong, Shanghai Bank. I mean, isn't that like going way, way back to the days?
that's going back up to, I believe, 19th century, when they put the opium wars against China, which is the British, they're known for liking tea, okay, drinking tea. And where does a lot of tea come from?
China?
Right. So normally you'd go, and by the way, in 19th century, I believe this is accurate. If it's not, I'm a century off. But who was the most prosperous economy on earth at the beginning of the 19th century?
Well, I don't know.
China. And there's a reason for that. They relied on themselves for everything. basically weren't getting stuff from trade. The
Right.
British, on the other hand, was through trade. So
Okay.
the British wanted tea from China. And so
Uh-huh.
they was like, well, we'll give you clocks. You know, they make clocks. So I said, we want a clock for some tea? And the Chinese said,
We got enough clocks, thanks.
right. And the Chinese were like, not really. We got clocks too. And so what did the British do? They got opium put into China and distributed. And
Where'd they get the opium from for the Opium Wars?
Well, that involves someone named the Sassoon family, Sasson.
Whoa, really?
Yes.
But you know who the prosecutor is in the Eric Adams case?
No.
Danielle Sassoon. But she quit.
Well, yeah. Well, take a look. Just type in Sassoon, Sasson, and then type in Opium Wars.
Wow. I didn't realize until this David Sassoon and Co.
Yeah.
Wow. See, I didn't realize Sassoon was a Jewish name, but it is. Baghdadi, established in 1832 in Bombay by David Sassoon, a Baghdadi Jewish businessman. Company was set up in a small counting house.
They're called, their nickname is the Rothschilds of the East. There are connections there. But again, also, and that's a lot of people might stop research then and just go, see, Jews. Well, but kind of. See, the Jews have been used since.
What about the shampoo?
I think so. I think he's one of the family. Vidal Sassoon. I think so, yeah.
Wow.
I believe so. But so this is how the Opium Wars were done against China. And this is the way the empire works. You see what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
And so you'll see HSBC was set up to be the way they, and see what happened was the Chinese at one point said, well, stop addicting our people to this drug, right? China was, they objected. And the British attacked them. I mean, literally put gunboats. The Chinese were trying to ban what they would do is they wouldn't exactly bring the drugs into the place, into China or whatever. They'd have boats off in the sea. You follow me?
Yeah.
And then they'd like send ferries over or whatever, smaller boats.
So wait a minute. So the Sassoon thing, where are they getting this heroin from? He's growing it?
I believe, I don't know that.
Well, that's a whole separate area of research. So, but bring it back to Epstein because we've only got about 2 minutes before we head over to the sponsor exclusive.
Well, I'm trying to show you why there's silence on this stuff with Epstein and why there's suspicious silence to me. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And this is why the influencers that invited, everyone was a Zionist, which doesn't mean Jewish. It just means Zionist. Because, again, Israel was founded by the British, basically, Lord Balfour and Rothschild. But so this is why they set up Israel as a
Well, why didn't they invite Laura then? She's a Zionist.
Right.
She says she is.
You're right. I'm sure Laura has no idea about the stuff I'm talking about.
That's correct. That's what I'm saying. And I'm not disparaging Laura. I'm just saying I think American Jews just think that Zionism means you like Israel, and so they say they're Zionists. They don't know all this history.
And again, I think Laura's less religious than you.
So, it's about the same. I mean, not that much.
Have you seen the video of her being taught how to draw the Jewish star?
No.
There's a video Milo took of him teaching her how to draw.
Yeah, but drawing skills, that's a separate thing. I don't want to get into that.
But drawing stars?
Listen,
that's not triple.
Some people are geniuses at some things, and then I can't believe other things. So I don't want to criticize any of that. Anyway,
I'm just-
but so with Epstein, but what's going on with Pam Bondi? Why the hell? I mean, so first of all, we got Cernovich there, which, you know, he was pretty anti-Trump at times. Who set this thing up? What was the purpose of it? DC Drano is a Zionist. He's not Jewish,
well,
but he's just
yeah,
a Zionist.
but do you know who was attacking a couple of months ago?
DC Drano was? Who?
Yes, a lot. Thomas Massey.
Oh, really? For Israel stuff?
I don't know, but Massey kind of fought back and said, well, you know, this guy DC Drano's attacked me. And DC Drano was attacking Massey, who's not popular with AIPAC.
Oh, yeah, right. Right, exactly. He's the only guy who doesn't have an AIPAC lobbyist. Well, Lee, let's continue this conversation. We're going to make our way over to patreon.com/Stranahan. People can also join us on odyssey.com/@crowdsourcethetruth, crowdsourcethetruth.substack.com, and subscribestar.com, and patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. Yeah, Lee.
One final thing.
Sure.
People, if they want to read, I've got a lot of in-depth articles, 3,000 word articles on all this stuff on my Patreon. So
yeah,
it's a good reason. I've been putting big stuff. By the way, one final note was today, Jason.
March 8th?
Yep, that's true. But what does that mean?
I don't know.
Two things. It's International Women's Day.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And that ties to another thing I got a big story about it's the day the Russian February Revolution really kicked off.
I didn't know that. But thank you for sharing that with us and telling us that.
In 1917. And it was, and the reason why,
we'll continue this all in the sponsor exclusive segment. So stay with us, everybody. Now is a great time to subscribe to Lee or any of the other channels. Join us. We'll be right back. And we're going to talk all about Pam Bondi. People are disappointed in Pam Bondi. We'll be right back, everybody.